iPhone 16 Plus versus iPhone 14 Pro Max speed test. So what is up guys, Nick here helping you to master your technology, and welcome to my iPhone 16 Plus versus iPhone 14 Pro Max speed test. Let's go ahead and begin with a boot up test in 3, 2, go. Now the reason I wanted to make this video is because I feel like the 16 Plus is an underserved phone. We don't see a lot of videos about it. Also, this is a pretty close decision here because both these phones actually can be had around the same price right now, but they're both phones of sacrifice. The 14 Pro Max sacrifices on-device AI and lower RAM, and the 16 Plus gives you more RAM but sacrifices 120 Hertz. So, and gives you lesser camera setup. So which would you prefer? Let me know down below in the comments, but the 14 Pro Max is going to take the W on the boot up. Alright, so here we are at the app test, and you can see everything is now closed out on both. Let's go ahead and go into calendar. And you can see not a big disparity, I do believe. Oh, there's just a little more yellow. I thought True Tone was on. Let's go over here to clock. And I think the 14 Pro Max looked nicer because of the 120 Hertz. Let's go over here to calculator. Yeah, that looked nicer on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. We'll do weather. And that one was to the iPhone 16 Plus. Let's head up out of here. We'll go into news. And that one went to the iPhone 14 Pro Max. We're going to go over here and swipe up out of there, and we'll go over here to App Store, and the 14 Pro Max faster. That is weird. So I always knew and thought deep down that the 14 Pro Max should have ran the Apple Intelligence. I understand though the lower RAM, Apple didn't want any issues with that, but maybe even a lighter version of the AI would have been nice. Little choppiness, actually a lot of choppy looking stutters there for the 16 Plus. Let's go into Instagram, and you can see that one was faster to the left. Apple A18 on the left, Apple A16 on the right, I believe it is. Let me double check that just to make sure. Yeah, A16 Bionic. We'll go over here to X, and that one was slightly faster on the left. We'll hit profile. I think it was slightly faster on the left. We'll hit YouTube. And that was basically the same. We'll hit trending, go to music, go to gaming, and we'll go over here to movies. Set up out of there. We'll go back to this area and we'll go to gaming. I'm sure GTA will be the #1 thing. And you can see once in, no major issues, although the scrolling still jumps a little bit more, or it just doesn't look as nice on the 16 Plus. So that is one of the things you'll notice. Let's go into Amazon, and Amazon was first on the left, and we'll go over to eBay. That was a little bit faster on the left. So 16 Plus. There's a lot more wobble on this phone, I noticed, because it has the way the camera is positioned. So if you use the phone on a desk, there's a lot more wobble. Let's go over here to Best Buy, and you'll see Best Buy does launch first here on neither. That was basically the same. So let's head up out of Best Buy, and we'll go over here into Subway Surfers, and we'll see what happens here. And it does look to me like the iPhone 16 Plus might have won that one. Let's head up out of here, but there's going to be no issues playing even demanding games on the older 14 Pro Max, even though it came out in 2022. It's going on 3 years old, but this is just going to show how far phones have come. I mean, it's great that you don't have to buy a new phone to get great performance. You can buy a yesteryear iPhone 14 Pro Max, 15 Pro Max, and just be on your way with some really modern feeling iPhone without the high price. Let's go into Free Fire. But of course, you're not going to be on the latest, but still, for a lot of people, that's not a big issue. Let's go over here and see what happens. And it does look like the 16 Plus is in the win. So a little bit more performance there when it comes to the Free Fire anyway. We're still waiting on the right. I think we have to hit guest here for this one to launch. Yeah, this one we have to hit guest. but it was faster on the 16 Plus. We'll go into PUBG Mobile. Hopefully we don't get no account logouts. And whichever one gets there first is going to be the winner. Looks like the 14 Pro Max is in the lead. Still waiting on the 16 Plus. So they've been trading. Some apps have been faster on the 14 Pro Max. Some have been faster on the iPhone 16 Plus. A little bit of a weird animation coming out of there on the 14 Pro Max. But now it looks like we're doing a quick download, which was doing a download before I did the test, so I don't understand that. But definitely, yeah, we're going to have to launch this again. For some reason, I swear I just did these downloads before the video. We'll launch this again. It initially went to the 14 Pro Max, but we'll see if that remains true here. Okay, it was an update, so I'm going to have to backtrack what I said. Unless it can take the win again here. Oh, I had to hit guest. Yeah, so it was the iPhone 16 Plus. I had to hit guest on that update as well. Yeah, it was the 16 Plus. So I'll have to backtrack what I had said initially on the 14 Pro Max winning. Let's go into speed test. And we'll go into iMovie. And that looked to be first on the left. We'll go into Geekbench 6. We already opened that earlier. And 3D Mark. So these phones were pretty neck and neck. There was a couple winning on the 14 Pro Max, a couple winning on the 16 Plus. So it feels like I'm getting essentially the same phone, just one has worse scrolling and one has better scrolling, but one has AI on the left, Apple Intelligence, and one doesn't have it on the right. So I personally think because I use more chat bots, I would probably pick the 14 Pro Max here. It's a nicer phone. It feels nicer. It has a nicer camera setup. And it's not even that far behind at all in the performance, even though this one would make you think it is A18, higher clock speed, more RAM. But honestly, it doesn't feel like anything in the real world. Let's see if that changes, though, on the RAM management. So here we are with the iPhone 16 Plus. And as I go through, you can see even with 60 Hertz, it's a pretty good experience. This 8 gigabytes of RAM does help a lot here. Kind of balances out the fact that it's a little bit of a slower phone, at least in the animations. Most people, though, that I've talked to that have a 16 Plus have said they don't even care about this stuff. Like, they love their phone. It's great. So I do feel that the actual buyer of the 16 Plus has been pretty happy, even though the phone doesn't have the 120 like a lot of tech YouTubers talk about. So we'll go over here to the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I'm included, but remember, I say this because I have experienced 120 Hertz and some people have as well. Nowadays, it's just becoming a standard feature that you could even find on mid-rangers, budget phones. That's why I keep beating that point across, because if you could find that on budget phones, it should be on every phone. Let's go over here to news. Whether at least on every phone that costs like more than $300-400. So not any real issues here on the 14 Pro Max, even with the 6 gigabytes of RAM. But man, does this phone feel like a heavy tank compared to this lightweight, sleek iPhone 16 Plus. So, and this has better battery life while also being lighter. So let me know your thoughts about which one you would pick in terms of these two down below in the comment section. And here is our final results here for Geekbench 6. We are looking at a substantial difference in the multi-core score, but not huge on the single core, which could explain why in this video that we do see the iPhone's kind of performing about the same in just our day-to-day use, not really showing us anything majorly different. And this shows us a pretty interesting result, especially on the frame rate. Take a look here. We see 23.2 FPS versus 13.7. The overall score is 3869, and on the right, it's 2288. Now, that scores better than 82% of devices, 42% on the 14 Pro Max. So that would put the iPhone 16 Plus 50% faster. So in the actual graphical performance. So even though the iPhone 14 Pro Max was capable of loading those games at a similar clip, when actually playing, we will have a better long-term performance on the 16 Plus. So if performance is something you care about, like actual performance, not just a faster 120 hertz scroll, long term, the 16 Plus is likely the better choice in terms of actual gameplay, video rendering, stuff of that sort. So let's go ahead and launch the cameras before we head up out of here. And I'll go ahead and back this out really quickly. We'll launch the camera on the iPhone 16 Plus and then followed by the 14 Pro Max. That was an accident, so I'm going to go ahead and click that and close that out as well, just so they're fair. 3, 2, go. And I think it might have been the 16 Plus. 3, 2, go. No, pretty much the same. They are both iPhones, so they do launch cameras at the same time. And if you want more zoom, you could go with the iPhone 14 Pro Max, but you do get some better camera features on the 16 Plus, but that's for a different comparison. If you want to see an actual which to buy video, let me know down below. But that was my iPhone 16 Plus versus 14 Pro Max speed test. We learned that the 14 Pro Max still holds its own several years later, but the 16 Plus is likely the better option if you're okay with 60 hertz, because you get better battery life, a lighter build, you get some better camera features, although you miss out on the zoom, and you do get better technical performance if you are actually going to take advantage of it. But that's the key thing. Are you going to take advantage of the game performance, like graphics and maybe faster video rendering? That will happen here. But for what you see for casual use, the ProMotion display probably will please more people in that area. So thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you all in the next episode. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.